folks. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. 5 minutes till showtime.
Good, Rob. Last call. You need anything?
I'm good, Jay. Thank you very much.
Good. Renee's getting them pumped up.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
It's down this hallway in the first. Oh, there they are. That's the judges. We're good. Absolutely. So in terms of special guests, Burshtyn's here, Debby Burshtyn as well, but
Wait. Okay, hi everybody. Good evening. Oh, I love that. So much enthusiasm. This is awesome. So happy to have you all here. Thank you for making time in your day to come out for this, what's going to be a really inspirational experience, seeing all of the pitches that these fabulous graduate students have been working on for the past months and weeks. Yeah, let's get going. My name's Tracy Raivio. I think I've introduced myself to almost everybody in the room, but just in case I haven't, I'm the Vice-Provost and Dean of the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies here at the University of Alberta, and it is my great pleasure to host today's Falling Walls event. I want to start us off in a really good way by acknowledging and taking a moment to recognize that we are located on Treaty 6 territory. We are so privileged and lucky to be on this beautiful Treaty 6 territory, and we like to take a moment to respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. So welcome to all of you. I'm calling this the Prairie Edition because we have the University of Saskatchewan, the University of Calgary, and the University of Alberta represented today in our Falling Walls competition. So I'm really excited to see this expand and grow and have more partners engaged with us in this really fun pitch competition. Welcome to all the friends and supporters that are joining us in person here at the University of Alberta campus, and to those that are joining us online from across Alberta and Saskatchewan, and hopefully around the world. We're so glad you're here to join us in celebrating the work of 13 outstanding young researchers. They have really powerful stories to tell about research that can change the world. Some of you might be new to Falling Walls. I talked to a few people that this is your first Falling Walls competition, so I want to pause and just offer some background on the competition to underscore what these young people have already accomplished before even arriving at today. So Falling Walls Lab is a pitch competition with a difference. Participants have just 3 minutes to explain their research and convince viewers that it's especially innovative and that it will make a big impact on the world. They can use a pair of slides to support their talk, and other than that, it's up to them. They have to marshal all of their enthusiasm, their ideas, and their creativity to win you over. The top presenter today will win a trip to Berlin to compete in the global finale. Super exciting. And they'll represent our community on the world stage and have a chance to speak to and learn from and network with outstanding researchers from around the world. But really, that's just a small part of the Falling Walls story, because every single one of our finalists benefits enormously from challenging themselves to take part in this competition. The program gives them confidence and it builds communication skills. They find language to explain their research in a variety of situations, like writing applications and teaching undergraduates and speaking to the public. All incredibly important knowledge translation and communication skills that we hope that all of our graduate students leave with. They also get a crash course in delivering a research pitch, thanks in part to a team of coaches, including Paula Burton at the University of Calgary, Kanisha Blair and Cassidy Guy at the University of Saskatchewan, and Aaron Sanderman and Rob Desjardins here at the University of Alberta. And if you want to know how much this all means to the finalists, just ask them. We have some of our past finalists joining us tonight. I know that last year's winner, Harry Wilton Clark, is here. So Harry, and if there's any other finalists here joining us from last year, do you want to stand and be acknowledged? There's one more over there. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And I love that you're here so much because one of the things that is really special about participating in Falling Walls or the 3-minute thesis is that the training that you go through really helps you, it really puts you in this cohort of students with other students that are trying to master the same communication skills and do exactly what you're doing. And those cohorts and those connections carry on after the competition. And I know I'm looking at Kathy, I was at an advancement conference over the last couple of days on the U of A campus. And these talented young researchers go on and tell their stories in many other places beyond just this competition venue. So it really is a fabulous community building experience as well. So back to Harry. We clapped for Harry. He was last year's winner. And I know, we can clap. Let's clap again. And then you're going to want to clap again because Harry went to Berlin and he placed 3rd among 100 presenters in an international competition. Yeah, it's pretty special. It's pretty special. It was exciting to watch it online. Now, speaking of recognizing special guests, we're extending a warm welcome to all of the University of Alberta donors joining us today. I hope I got a chance to shake all of your hands. If I didn't, I'll try and get around to you at the reception. We want to tip our hats to members of the Quaikumquawera. Did I get it right? Oh my gosh, I didn't. Okay, tell me, how do I say it right? Quaikumquawera. All right, thank you. Honor Society members who are here for the celebration. Thank you for your investment in learning from the bottom of my heart and discovery at the U of A through a future legacy gift. We are truly grateful. One alumnus and QVHS member, Ernie Zielinski. Where is Ernie? Ernie's right there. Hi, Ernie. Thanks for being here. Is the author of 20 acclaimed books published in 22 languages, including Great Friends Rock and The Joy of Not Working. I'm going to read that one. Ernie has kindly donated 3 of his books to each finalist and 7 to each winner. So thank you so much, Ernie. Really grateful. I want to give a special shout out to some of the leaders of our graduate community and our education community at the University of Alberta. So in our audience today, we have Karsten Mundell, the Vice-Provost of Learning Initiatives here at the U of A. Thank you, Karsten, for being here. Appreciate it. And we also have Debby Burshtyn, Vice-Provost and Dean. No, that's not your title. Just Dean. Okay, sorry, I messed it up. Dean of Graduate Studies from University of Saskatchewan. So thank you both for being here. And we're also joined by department chairs, deans, and members of the Senate, Board of Governors, and Alumni Council. Thank you, everybody, for your support and for attending the competition tonight. We're so glad to have you here. Now, it's an important moment. I want to introduce the 5 people who are playing a key role in today's event, the distinguished members of our jury. They come from various backgrounds and bring all kinds of expertise. Each of them is very well positioned to offer our finalists advice, insights, and wisdom. And if I can ask each of you to rise when I mention your name, that would be fantastic, so we can applaud you. In alphabetical order, we have Vanessa Carius. Vanessa, thank you for being here. Vanessa is the Director of Post-Secondary Research and Innovation Strategy with Alberta's Ministry of Advanced Education, where she leads the development of strategies and initiatives that strengthen the role of post-secondary institutions in Alberta's research and innovation ecosystem. She's also deeply committed to advancing science education. Thank you, Vanessa, for taking time. We really appreciate it. Darren Fast. Thank you, Darren, for your continued return to the jury. We greatly appreciate your time Darren is the Associate Vice President, Innovation and Knowledge Mobilization in the Office of the Vice President, International Innovation and Enterprise here at the U of A, where his role is to develop and support a clear innovation strategy for the university, utilizing and coordinating existing resources across campus and the community. And we're very grateful for the Office of Innovation, or the Office of International Innovation and Enterprise for providing supports for the travel of the winner of the competition to go to Berlin. Greg Gazin. Greg is a syndicated tech and lifestyle columnist, speaker, producer, and University of Alberta BCom alumnus. Known as the gadget guy, I love that. Greg is dedicated to demystifying consumer technology in a fun and entertaining way. His career includes years in banking IT alongside various entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you so much for being here, Greg. Appreciate it. Bhuvanvir Maingi. Bhuvan, thank you for being here. Bhuvan is the founder of Strathen Group, a strategy and operations management consulting firm serving executives across financial services, energy, and fintech. His work spans go-to-market strategy, investment, and net zero planning, and large-scale operational transformation. And finally, Lian Willets. Lian is an associate professor in the Cummings School of Medicine and the director of the innovation portfolio at the University of Calgary's Hotchkiss Brain Institute. Her past research has focused on the mechanism of cancer metastases and clinical applications in the diagnosis and prognosis of metastases. And she is a former Falling Walls Lab silver medalist and later a jury member in Berlin. Amazing. So there you have it, everybody. This is your Falling Walls Lab jury. Let's give them one more giant round of applause. They deserve a big thanks because we're going to ask a lot of them. Okay. Now, having introduced Darren, I want to acknowledge the significant contributions of the Office of the Vice President, International Innovation and Enterprise. As I just mentioned, they played a big role in funding this event and helping our winner travel to Berlin. So Darren, do you want to come down and say a few words on behalf of the office and the University of Alberta? We're making you walk a long ways.
Well, thank you very much for having me here again as a juror. This is one of those events that is really cool. I first got to be aware of Falling Walls in about 2019 when I was at a different university, and we took a team there, and I got to go with them, and blew me away in terms of what sorts of innovations are coming out. And so it gives you a lot of hope for the future, and it really emphasizes why we do this research at universities. And my role is largely around the commercialization and taking these ideas that come out of the university and moving them out into the community. And so these are some of the folks who we interact with. And you know, there's nothing better than seeing something move from research through that commercialization pathway and then into practice so that it actually benefits, you know, not only folks here in Edmonton, but really around the world. So this is, you know, an exciting part of that journey. We are very happy to support this and really just thrilled. And so congratulations for making it this far, because I know you've done a lot of work to get here. And all the best to all of you. I really look forward to these presentations. So this is just a ton of fun to be here. Thanks.
Okay, so I already kind of spilled the beans about this, but to make it official, Falling Walls Lab Edmonton continues to have a really wide reach with presenters this year coming from Saskatoon, Calgary, and Edmonton. The Prairies edition. And we couldn't have done it without our partners at the University of Saskatchewan and the University of Calgary. Thank you, thank you. From the College of Graduate Studies at University of Saskatchewan, we have a very dear friend and former Dean of the Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies at the University of Alberta, Debby Burshtyn, attending today, and I'm happy to invite Debby up to bring a few greetings on their behalf.
Good evening. Well, it really is a pleasure to be here and to be able to bring greetings from the University of Saskatchewan. And thank you to Tracy for starting us off on a good way. And I'll mention the University of Saskatchewan is also on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We have been building momentum at USask for this competition, and we're so pleased that we have 4 entries this year, and a couple of them I've known for quite some time. And we're really proud of you, so congratulations. The opportunity for these early career researchers to go through this competition is so important at this moment in time when we know that the world, those challenges in the world, they're getting bigger and harder, and the public's confidence in the research and science and universities is waning. So the ability to really get out and communicate to broad audiences and share that impact and innovation is, as Tracy was mentioning, such an important skill that we really want all of our trainees to be getting throughout their programs. I thought I might also mention that at the University of Saskatchewan about 5 years ago, we invested in creating the first incubator for USask called Opus, and it's actually a deep tech incubator. And again, as Darren was saying, really about creating that pipeline of taking the discoveries and the great creative ideas and bringing them through to commercialization. And Opus is actually situated proximal on our campus as part of what is an growing innovation corridor. And our Polytech is going to be moving in a few years, along with, that's where our Innovation Saskatchewan is, which is similar to Innovation. Is it still called Alberta Innovation? Alberta Innovates? Yeah. And many startups. And so really looking to see that whole ecosystem develop. And I'm mentioning it because actually several of our finalists here today are actually founders in that incubator. So that just goes to show where they're at. But I should also mention, innovation isn't just tech, right? Innovation and impact is so much more. It's about policy frameworks. It's about systems redesign. It's about changing the world. And that's what these finalists are here today. They are change makers. They're not just future change makers. They're making change now, and it's exciting. So again, I want to really congratulate you. I want to thank the team that has been helping you prepare for this. And I want to thank the jurors for their time and effort. I had the pleasure of being a juror last year, and it's a hard job. But we really appreciate the time that you're taking to participate. So again, to the finalists, thank you for your passion. Thank you for your courage. And on that, I will, take my notes and go to my seat.
Thanks so much, Debby. And last but not least, from the Hunter Hub for Entrepreneurial Thinking at the Hotchkiss Brain Institute, please welcome a true Falling Walls Lab expert, Lian Willets, to say a few words on behalf of the University of Calgary. Lian.
Hi, everybody. I am bringing greeting from Treaty 7 territory, University of Calgary. I am a U of A alumni, and it's very much of a homecoming for us. And I would like to express sincere gratitude for the faculty of FGS and Renee and Rob and Aaron's team to kind of logistically put this together. And and then be able to sustain it and advance it so that our prairie talents can have international spotlight. So really appreciate that. And at the University of Calgary, the Hotchkiss Brain Institute and the Hunter Hub for Entrepreneurial Thinking, we're creating all of these programs to ensure all of our trainees are equipped with all of these skills that they will need when they leave academia or even when they stay in academia. So these are the opportunities, and the Falling Wall is a very, very powerful initiative for all of us, academia and the non-academics in the room. It's great for communication. But I think the most important thing, and I'm the last person standing between you experiencing all the tech and the fun stuff out there, I just wanted to say thank you to participant, the Labsters. What I would pay to get 10, 11 years back and sitting there being one of you, it's just amazing. And I hope you make friends, and I appreciate you stepping forward, trying to challenge yourself, communicate in a different way, and then that's just as important as the idea themselves. So really give yourself a pat on the back and good luck. So thank you again, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Lian. Such inspiring words. And now for our program. Here's how it's going to work. I shared a little bit. Each presenter will have 3 minutes to present their pitch. They'll share images on 2 static slides, and we'll welcome your applause when each presenter is done. We'll pause for 60 seconds after each presentation, during which the judges will frantically work to tally their results. And during that time, the next presenter will come up and get in place, and we'll announce their names. So I'm now going to sit down and enjoy the show and turn things over to Rob Desjardins, yes, professional development team, to announce the presenters. Thank you, Rob.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. So our first 5 finalists will speak to topics ranging from preserving donor hearts to giving opportunities to quadriplegic children, improving crop yields, recovering heavy oil sustainably, and predicting blood glucose for people with diabetes. In order, they are Parham Hassanzadeh, Adam Luoma, Mengying, Saman Mohammadi, and Leen Alzebdeh. Breaking the wall of the transplantation waitlist, Parham Hassanzadeh.
50%. Imagine a world where 50% of life-saving resources were simply thrown away. This is the reality for many of our patients on the heart transplant waitlist. For every 100 hearts that are donated, 50 are lost to long geographical distances between donors and recipients, or an inability to restore the usability of these hearts. One of the main reasons for the staggering waste is the way that we preserve these hearts from donors to recipients, known as static cold storage. The process is very, very simple. Take the heart from the donor, put it on ice, and deliver it to the recipient in need. But this simplicity, it comes at a cost. 2 critical flaws that render half of our hearts unusable. Firstly, static cold storage only allows the preservation of these hearts for 6 hours. Now, if I were to put this into context, imagine you have a donor in Toronto and a perfect recipient match here in Edmonton. Under the 6 hours, that heart cannot be transplanted and goes to waste. The second flaw, hearts that are damaged are given no therapeutic window, meaning that organs that could have been rescued are again thrown away. So what if we could do better? Well, that's where our research comes in. We are looking at a new method of preserving hearts called ex situ heart perfusion, or ESHP for short. Instead of placing the heart on ice, why don't we give it an environment where we can deliver it blood, glucose, and restore the functionality of the heart such that it's beating and acts as if it's in your body. ESHP allows us to expand our preservation window from 6 all the way up to 12 hours, meaning that that transplant procedure in Toronto and Edmonton is now feasible and that heart is saved. Secondly, ESHP allows us to infuse drugs directly to the heart, allowing us to rescue potentially unusable organs. Estimates from our lab predict that with the implementation of ESHP, we can expand donor pools by up to 30%. 50% of our organs are lost today. But with ESHP, we have the technology to lower that number, to allow for an increase in healthier and donor hearts for patients, ultimately allowing them a greater chance at a new life. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of quadriplegic composing, Adam Luoma.
Imagine a world where you can't move or speak. Your head is still full of ideas, only now you can't share them. You have hopes and dreams, but no methods to realize them. For my friend Nina, this is her reality. Nina is a smart, kind, sweet young lady. And like other kids, she has big plans for when she grows up. But unfortunately, she is trapped in her own body. Nearly 4 million children worldwide live with quadriplegic cerebral palsy, a collection of diseases that leave individuals unable to move, often accompanied by an inability to speak and visual impairment. For these children, there are so few opportunities to play, create, and even participate that they live with untapped capacity. Our team is changing that. We developed brain-computer interface, or BCI technology, specifically designed for kids. A BCI takes patterns in your brain's electrical activity and translate them into actions in the real world. We don't require any surgery or implant, just a few small electrodes placed around the head. Unfortunately, over 99% of BCIs are developed for adults, which are unfit for children like Nina, whose brains develop differently because of her cerebral palsy. So our team instead works directly with children and their families to design BCIs for them to accomplish goals and achieve their dreams. The newest dream we're pursuing, creative expression through making music. To break down walls in participation, creative expression, and music for these children, we're making a simple, easy-to-use brain-computer music interface. First, we built a generative composer that writes music in the style and instruments the children want to play. This composer also hides features in the music that, when listened to, create distinct patterns in the brain's electrical activity that we can see on our computers. All the kids need to do is listen to the melodies and focus their attention on the parts they want to add to their song. As they improve their skill, we can shorten the length of these melodies so that they have more freedom and flexibility in their creation. By the end, our kids will be playing music like an expert musician improvising on their instrument. This project breaks down walls to participation, creation, and self-expression for children. And as we continue the work, we hope to have our kids join the school orchestra and perform for friends and family. Because at the end of the day, she's just a kid. And all kids deserve to play, create, and express themselves. And for a whole pile of kids who have spent their entire lives hearing, "You'll never do this. You can't do that," we're building a vehicle for them to show you all how brilliant and capable they truly are. I can't wait for you all to hear. Thank you.
Breaking the Wall of Hidden Crop Allies, Mengying Liu.
Food is right in front of you, but you're still starving. Sounds impossible. But this happens in plants all the time. Nutrients can be in soil, but a lot of portion of them are locked away. So agriculture keeps adding more to the field. More water, more fertilizer, more chemicals. But does more input always mean better plants? No. Here's 2 canola plants from our group. So they are under exactly same input, but one grows way better. The other seems like dying. Why? So the dying plant lost its hidden crop allies. That's a soil microbe living around plant roots. They help plants unlock nutrients, and then they help them fight stress as well as storage carbon. In our test, actually when the plants lost these allies, 17% of plants dies. So the wall is actually very clear. Modern agriculture manage the input, but now the microbial allies that makes this input work. So our solution is microbalance. It works in 3 steps. First, detect. It detects the soil microbe signals around plant roots, like biological barcode, and then tell us who are there, what are they doing. And then second, it's like diagnose. So for the first time, we ask the question, are the right microbial allies there helping the plant to use what has already been in the field, rather than just adding like randomly. So third, we act. With diagnosis, we can turn these invisible microbes into visible field decision. So for every fertilizer plan, every crop breeding, every of the bioproduct input, they can work with a microbial allies. Globally, soil microbes have the potential, like hugely. We're talking about $1.5 trillion in the hidden value of agriculture per year. That means they can also have the power to increase crop yield by 22%, food enough to feed 2 million people. But potentially does not mean anything, cannot feed anyone. until we can see it, measure it, and use it with microbalance. That's a wall I am breaking with. Microbalance breaks the hidden wall of hidden crop islands. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of heavy oil recovery, Saman Mohammadi.
Think of tap water in Edmonton. It flows easily. Think of heavy oil from Coal Lake. It barely moves. Imagine trying to extract this from tiny pores in a reservoir hundreds of meters below the surface of the earth. That's a key challenge in heavy oil recovery. Today, more than 90% of heavy oil is extracted using thermal methods. Technically, we burn hydrocarbons to extract hydrocarbons. For every barrel of heavy oil extracted using thermal methods, up to 200 kilograms of CO2 is emitted, and 3 barrels of fresh water are contaminated. In a world that consumes 10 to 15 million barrels of heavy oil per day and is also transitioning toward greener energy, cleaner solutions are needed for the energy sources we still rely on. Now the question becomes, can we extract heavy oil without burning fuel and contaminating water? This is the wall we are working to break. My PhD introduces a new approach to this long-standing problem. Instead of using heat, we cyclically inject a recyclable solvent into the reservoir at low temperature. The solvent mixes with oil, reduces its viscosity, and helps it flow through tiny pores during a cleaner process. However, the real breakthrough is not just the solvent itself. It is how we use it. Typically, solvent-based methods rely on long soaking periods where a solvent is injected into the reservoir and left on the ground for several months. However, in my PhD, we challenged this assumption. We have demonstrated that we can achieve oil recovery comparable to thermal methods while reducing CO2 emissions by up to 90% without contaminating water. We can improve the efficiency by injecting 60% less solvent and completing the process by up to 10 times faster. To ensure real-world application, we conduct visualization experiments under simulated reservoir conditions using rock and fluid samples collected from the field. This method is also applicable to thin, deep, and offshore reservoirs where thermal methods are often inefficient. By rethinking heavy oil recovery methods, we can simultaneously reduce the environmental impact, improve the efficiency, and support a more responsible transition to a lower carbon future. This is how we break the wall of carbon-intensive heavy oil recovery. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of blind glucose control, Leen Alzebdeh.
You're in a hospital bed, awaiting surgery. You have type 2 diabetes, a condition affecting 450 million adults worldwide. Before breakfast, nurse checks your blood sugar. They administer a formula that will place a pill in the bed before you wake up. And before lunch, you're shaking, sweating, and your blood sugar going dangerously low.
Oh, right, we'll try that again. Take two. Breaking the wall of blind glucose control. Lian Alzebdeh.
You're in a hospital bed awaiting surgery. You have type 2 diabetes, a condition affecting 450 million adults worldwide. Before breakfast, a nurse checks your blood sugar. They administer an insulin dose based on a formula written before you were born. Before lunch, you're shaking, sweating, and your blood glucose is going dangerously low. That low glucose means longer recovery, more complications, and even death. Diabetes Canada tells us to individualize glucose care, and yet most hospitals use standardized insulin formulas, and as a result, 1 in 3 patients experience dangerous glucose fluctuations during their stay. This is the wall. Hospitals collect enormous amounts of patient data, and yet we rarely use it to predict what happens next. Most research on blood glucose prediction uses expensive continuous glucose monitors worn mostly by type 1 diabetic patients and with short prediction intervals of up to 30 minutes. Our research is different. We built a blood glucose predictor that predicts glucose for patients who are hospitalized with type 2 diabetes and with data readily available from electronic healthcare records. That means no new devices and no extra costs. Now, the model enables personalized intervention and moves care from reactive correction to predictive prevention. And here's how it works. A patient is admitted for surgery. They're on steroids for swelling, and they have type 2 diabetes. Steroids will raise their blood glucose, but not immediately. A nurse checks their blood sugar before supper and enters that value into the system as usual. The model looks at the patient's history over the last several days, so their steroid and insulin dose, their blood glucose response. And then it predicts, before bedtime, blood glucose will be dangerously high. Adjust insulin now. The nurse makes a judgment call, administers an extra dose of insulin, and by bedtime, blood glucose is normal. No spike and no emergency. That is personalized forecasting using the patient's own data and the hospital's existing schedule. On a retrospective data set of 1,279 patients, our predictor achieved 99% clinically acceptable accuracy. That means for every 100 predictions, 99 were safe enough to act on. The real test, prospective validation, will be our next hill to climb. With enough data, we hope to extend this framework to type 1 diabetes, to emergency departments, to ICUs, anywhere where glucose matters. That means we can alert staff before the crash and not after, and it means fewer emergencies, fewer rescues, and better patient outcomes. Thank you.
Right, our next 4 finalists are presenting on topics ranging from detecting landslides to preventing cancer recurrence, avoiding firefighter burns, and improving nasal drug delivery. In order, they are Raymond Shu, Nickson Joseph, Elena Kosareva, and Arash Amanlu. Breaking the wall of silent landslides, Raymond Shu.
We can track a hurricane from space with pinpoint precision. Yet landslides, which kill thousands per year, can still catch us off guard. In Canada alone, the economic toll is about $450 million annually, and that number is still climbing up thanks to climate change. In the last decade, a major economic corridor was shut down as a result of a landslide, costing about $40 million every single day. The most dangerous ones often don't announce themselves. Slow-moving landslides silently creep for years before accelerating into catastrophic collapse. The thing is, we do have the technology to detect them from space. Satellites can track ground displacement down to millimeter accuracies, yet turning that data into actionable insights still requires days of manual efforts. Existing AI systems used by researchers to detect landslides often face regional limitations where they don't generalize well from one region to another. The wall is not the data itself, but is utilizing the data to its full potential for people who need it the most. I'm breaking the wall by developing an automatic landslide detection program called SLIDE that thinks about terrain, not just emotion. While the existing approaches is ask, is the ground moving? SLIDE does it differently, actually builds on this and thinks about a question on top of that. Is a moving ground actually behaving like a landslide? Think about how we identify humans with fingerprints and faces. SLIDE does that for landslides, utilizing terrain hotspots, terrain contour lines, and displacement hotspots to identify and characterize them. SLIDE encodes expert knowledge directly into an intelligence system, overcoming that regional limitation. In the preliminary testing, SLIDE was able to achieve over 80% detection accuracy, while cutting down the processing time significantly. Currently, I'm in collaboration with fellow researchers at the University of Alberta to integrate SLIDE into an early warning system for energy infrastructure. Beyond this, SLIDE has great potential to collaborate with other researchers and even government agencies across the globe, join the forces of bringing down that economic and lively losses caused by landslides, bringing Canadian solution to the world. As climate change continues destabilizing our surroundings, having intelligence about landslide is not luxury, but it's essential. Breaking this wall means that the next slow-moving landslide will not catch us off guard. And thank you so much.
Breaking the wall of why cancer comes back. Nickson Joseph.
Imagine an individual finishing cancer treatment and being told you're cancer-free, a bright light at the end of a long road. But then many months later, it comes back, and this time it is stronger than before. Almost 89% of patients with aggressive melanoma may develop cancer recurrence. And recurrent cancers of any type are known to be causing better metastasis, the leading cause of cancer-related mortality. But the hardest question for patients who suffer from cancer recurrence is, why does it come back? My research asked a different question. What if some cancer cells hide? Oh. Sorry. Can I just start over? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking the wall of why cancer comes back. Nickson Joseph.
Imagine an individual finishing cancer treatment and being told you're cancer-free, a bright light at the end of a long road. But then many months later, it comes back. And this time, it is stronger than before. Almost 89% of patients with aggressive melanoma may develop cancer recurrence. And recurrent cancers of any type are known to be better equipped for metastasis, the leading cause of cancer-related mortality. But the hardest question for patients who suffer from cancer recurrence is, why does it come back? We usually think of cancer as a mass of fast-growing cells. So most of the treatments are designed to kill these fast-growing cells. But my research asked a different question. What if some cancer cells survive by not growing at all? And what if they're hiding in a place that we could never think of until now? Our nerves. Nerves help us move, feel, and respond to the world. But in my research, they may also be doing something unexpected. They may act as a safe haven for cancer cells. To study this, I built a lab model where I can see cancer cells and nerves interact. And what we saw was striking. When cancer cells come into contact with the nerves, they change. Some of them, they invade the nerves, and those ones, they slow down. They become less active. They enter a state that almost looks like dormancy, just like hibernation. So if nerves are protecting cancer, then targeting cancer alone may not be enough. We may need to target the interaction between cancer cells and nerves, thereby keeping these cancer cells from coming back. That is the wall my research begins to break. There are drugs in market that already we know that target the nervous system, so we can repurpose those nerve-targeting therapies instead of investing another $2.83 billion and starting from the scratch, reducing not just the cost, but also the time required to bring these therapies to the patients. And if we can do that, we may be able to stop recurrence before it begins. Fewer relapses, fewer repeated treatments, and fewer people hearing the words, "Your cancer is back." Because to truly defeat cancer, we must identify and shut all the doors that it can take, especially the ones behind which it hides. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of firefighter burn injury, Elena Kosareva.
Imagine standing in front of wildfire. Heat is so intense, it feels like it's reaching through your clothing. For wildland firefighters, it's not hypothetical, it's a reality. In 2023, Canada experienced the worst wildfire season with more than 18 million hectares burns. As wildfires become more frequent and intense, wildland firefighters are facing more dangerous conditions. Their clothing meant to protect them from extreme heat and flames, but that protection has its own limitations. Unlike structural firefighters with multi-layer heavy gear, wildland firefighters rely on two-layer system, which is flame-resistant shirt and pants worn over cotton base layer. It does provide them with a mobility and prevent from overheating. However, it also leaves them at risk of life-threatening situations, such as fire entrapment. Here's the critical problem. The protective clothing that rests directly on your skin in these areas, burns appear faster. The areas such as upper torso and shoulders are especially at risk. So even a small air gap between the clothing and your skin actually increases thermal protection dramatically. So the problem is not just in the fabric itself, it's actually the space between the outer layer fabric and the skin. So air entrapped in your clothing system actually acts as a powerful insulator. It slows down the heat transfer, and it buys firefighters precious time to escape dangerous conditions. In my new design, instead of adding heavier layers, I designed the shirt that artificially creates air gaps in vulnerable areas by incorporating 3D spacer material, which is lightweight and very breathable. It lifts the fabric away from your skin, and it doesn't prevent the movement. The shirt impedes high heat fluxes. The total burns will decrease by 6%, and time to burn injury increases from 4 seconds to 18 seconds. So in emergency situations, these extra seconds would mean the difference between escaping from dangerous conditions and getting severe burns. But this research is not just about one shirt design. It's about rethinking thermal protective clothing, and not by making them heavier, but making it smarter. Thank you.
The world we live in is built for man.
Right. So, breaking the wall of nasal drug delivery. Arash Amanlu.
The world we live in is built for man. From crash test dummies, safety gear, public transit, and testing medication, many of these products have been historically designed around male bodies. If you're not the standard 5'9", 170-pound male, this world probably won't fit you the way it should. Nasal sprays face a similar problem. Nasal sprays are no longer just used for congestion and allergies. They're increasingly used for vaccines, opioid overdose reversal, and seizure rescue therapies. But problem is, we often test nasal spray formulations and new candidates on one male nose. But problem is, women, children, toddler, and men, they don't share an identical anatomy. A nasal spray that would work in one nose might not work in another one. But what is the solution? What we did was we created a series of 3D printed nasal cavity models from CT scan images that represents children, men, toddlers, cancer patients that recovered from cancer in their nasal cavity, and anatomical variations. Using this approach, we're breaking this wall through three things: population, price, and precision. For a nasal spray to work, it needs to reach a certain region of the nose. And the models that we created after we applied the nasal spray were able to separate it and break it apart to different anatomical sections. Using this, we were able to know how much of the medicine reached our target region. In our next step, what we did, we created nasal spray testing devices. This will allow us to know how much of the medicine got to the area that we wanted. Previously, these devices would cost something around $500,000. Today, we have reduced the cost to less than $5,000. With our work, we're able to make nasal delivery research more accessible to more researchers, universities. This research, we hope, is no longer limited to large companies. And we should be able to make and expand research on seizure and opioid overdose reversal more reliable. We're breaking the wall of one-size-fits-all nasal sprays.
Hello?
All right, and our final four finalists are presenting on topics ranging from expanding donor heart compatibility to rethinking time with black holes, using food waste for healing, and avoiding AI failures. In order, they are I Adrien Lam, Paolo Fragolino, Kiran Khurshid, and Haunan Tsian.
Hi, everybody. I want to start by asking you a simple question. If you had to receive a heart transplant today, how long do you think you'd have to wait? Maybe I could get a show of hands from the audience. How many think in a few days? How many think in a few months? And how many think in a few years? Reading the room, I'll tell you the answer is anywhere from 1 to 2 years. That's a problem, hey? And for too many, they don't survive the wait. Heart failure affects over 64 million people worldwide, and many of these patients end up needing a transplant. However, only 6,000 heart transplants are performed each year. In children, that number drops to fewer than 500. This creates a massive gap. Nearly 1 in 7 adults will never receive a heart, and over 30% of patients die waiting on the wait list each year. So why is that happening? It's not because we don't have donor hearts. No, it's because many of them are incompatible with the patient. Right now, transplantation depends on matching blood types such as A, B, AB, or O. If the match isn't right, the body rejects the heart. But even if a match is possible, there's only a short window of time, 4 to 6 hours, before that heart is wasted. Therefore, we're not limited by supply, we're limited by incompatibility. So what if, instead of asking, how could we make donor-recipient matching a more efficient process, what if our research opt to ask a different question instead? Could we perhaps modify the heart itself to overcome incompatibility? That is exactly what our research is doing. We've introduced a novel system called Azymes, a 2-step enzyme approach designed at removing blood type marker A from the surface of donor A hearts. One enzyme removes the A marker itself, while the other restores what's naturally found in O patients, which is considered the universal donor. These enzymes are applied using ex situ heart perfusion, a novel organ preservation system that continuously circulates nutrients and blood throughout the heart while keeping it alive and beating outside of the body. By re-engineering these hearts, any A-type heart can now be compatible with any patient. This has already been shown by our team to be effective in red blood cells and human cardiac-related tissue. It is now being applied to human donor hearts to define safe clinical conditions. So what does this mean in practice? Shorter wait times, more available viable hearts, and fewer dying on the wait list. Because for the first time, we can finally address incompatibility at the level of the organ itself. And if successful, we could apply the same concept across transplantations to other organs, impacting millions worldwide living with end-stage organ failure. We can now shift the landscape of transplantation entirely from just simply preserving organs to now also actively re-engineering them as well, breaking the wall towards creating a universal donor heart. Thank you.
Breaking the Wall of Black Holes, Paolo Fragolino.
Okay, so we know that there are places in our universe in which physics simply breaks down. For example, at the very center of a black hole. Now, a black hole is a prediction of Einstein's theory of gravity, and they are these huge astronomical objects that live in our universe. On your left, you can see our very first picture of a black hole. And they are so massive that nothing can escape them, not even light, which is why they're black. And there's something inside a black hole which is called a singularity. Now, singularity is a point in space-time in which stuff from the equations become infinite, and all the trajectories cannot be extended any further. So it's like any object that falls inside of a black hole will eventually hit a wall. So the aim of my research is to break this wall. But I've realized that singularities are just a symptom of something deeper. The real wall that we need to break is the wall of time. That is because we know from physics that if we try to merge our two fundamental theories of the universe, which are quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of gravity, time disappears. Time disappears from the equation, so we are left with this apparently frozen universe. So my question was, how do we recover time evolution, especially inside of a black hole? Well, it turns out that we just need to rethink about the concept of time itself. So instead of thinking of time as something inside which things happen and objects exist, we can rebuild time from the relations between objects. For example, if I were to ask you right now, what time is it? You will look at your watch. Therefore, you, a physical system, will interact with another physical system. You will start to exchange light, you will start to exchange photons, and therefore forming these relations between your watch. Okay, so my idea was to apply these new ideas and techniques about time inside of a black hole and see what happens. And well, something new happens. So at the beginning, everything is as usual. So the black hole starts to contract, it collapses, and then it reaches a minimum size, and instead of dying there, there's a bounce happening. So the black hole starts to expand. So basically, the black hole will turn into something that is the opposite of itself. And what is the opposite of a black hole? It is a white hole, right? So for a black hole, everything has to fall in. For a white hole, it's the opposite, so everything has to come out. So the impact of my research is that, first of all, we can have like a new concept of time as something that emerges from the relations between objects. We have a model in which quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of gravity can work at the same time, coexist at the same time. And we can have like new prediction that can be tested maybe in the future, which are these white holes, which are these new astronomical objects that maybe a future experiments will see in the sky. Thank you.
Breaking the Wall of Waste to Healing, Kiran Khurshid.
How many of you have thrown something away from a food today? A peel, a stalk, a box maybe? All of us at some point. Now imagine the same waste stopping a wound from getting infected. Every time we grow, harvest something, we end up with mountains of leftovers. In 2025, world food waste was more than 1 billion tons. And out of that, 14% was the post-harvest losses. Most of these losses are burned, buried, or simply discarded, creating environmental problems. But you know, hidden inside these food waste are the powerful building blocks, biopolymers, the same material used in advanced biomedical applications. The wall is not finding these materials. The real wall is how we transform them. My research breaks the wall of traditional and toxic method and use green and sustainable method to transform these waste into biomedical materials. I used pressurized fluid
ethanol and water to gently open up the plant structure and to recover this biopolymer without harsh chemicals and toxic acid. To imagine unzipping a stubborn jacket without tearing the fiber. Then I use the ultrasonication to break these biopolymers to form soft and biocomposite hydrogels. Finally, these hydrogels are dried by supercritical carbon dioxide, a non-toxic and a unique fluid that can behave both like a gas and a liquid. It penetrates inside the hydrogel matrix like a gas and removes solvent like a liquid. Unlike the other method that can collapse the delicate structure, this technology remains the material network. And we get the material that is ultralight like a sponge in our air. And what is the impact? In biomedical application, structures matter. The final material has porous more than 98% and is capable of absorbing and releasing biological fluid in a controlled manner. The more space and porosity make it more viable for cell division. So it's an excellent material used to treat burn as a wound healing, for drug delivery, and tissue support. We can use it. Beyond healthcare, this approach also opens new opportunity for biomaterials that are sustainable and change how we think about the waste. So next time you are about to throw some food waste, think that's the material that can heal our wound or even save our life. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of silent AI failures. Haonan Qian.
Do you trust AI? Nowadays, AI has entered so many parts of our daily life and also industry. This is exciting. But when we deploy the AI into the real physical world, one dangerous thing is happening, and almost nobody talks about it. Let's imagine autonomous driving sprayer machine running in the farm field. And the camera is driven by AI to detect the weed and let them know where to spray. And it can help you to save up to the 80% of the chemistry usage, which sounds like really amazing. And if you deploy this machine running in the harsh environment for several hours, the AI might silently start to fail. The cause might be so many things, like dirty camera, the memory bit flip, or because unstable voltage damage your pre-trained profile. And the most critical thing for this situation is everything looks normal. Your machine is running, your camera is on, and the water is spraying. The only thing is, after 3 weeks, the weeds just come out from everywhere, and the spray window has passed, and the farmers are getting really mad. And this is called the silent AI failure. This is the wall I want to break. So far, the AI monitoring is more focused on just checking the final result or the confidence score, but the confidence score sometimes may be wrong. Let's imagine a student is doing the exam, and if you just check his final result, it's hard for you to know that if this student really understands the question or just by guess. The only way to figure it out is to check the scratch paper. And our solution is to check the scratch paper of the AI. And a health AI system, the internal activity layer is following a stable statistic patterns. And I call this the health fingerprint of the AI. And once you you deploy the AI into the real world doing the operation, and our system will continuously tracing this fingerprint and tracing this fingerprint and to see if your AI system, the internal activity, is following the health path. And once we detect it's moving away, and we know that something might be wrong, and the result may not be that trustable. And by the year of the 2030, there will be 1 billion of the edge AI device being deployed into the real world and make the real decision. And by that time, only check the final result is not enough, and you need this AI internal health system internal AI checking system to make sure that the silent failure won't cause any very expensive mistake in the real world. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. How about another big round of applause for all of our presenters? Well done, you guys. That was amazing. Renee is now going to escort the judges to their deliberation room. Yay, yes. And while they do that, I want to call all of our presenters up to the front where we are going to get to have a question period with them. I don't know about you, but as I was watching all of those talks, I had a lot of questions going through my head. So we are going to get the chance to ask those questions while our judges do the hard work of making the decision about our winner. So come on up, you guys. Don't be shy. The hard part is done. Okay, that sounds good. All right, so if you have a question, raise your hand. Aaron will come to you with a microphone, and I have a microphone for whoever it is that gets to be the lucky answerer. Good job, you guys.
Okay, what? Okay, my question is specifically for the presentations on the recovery of oil, heavy oil. And I'm trying to understand, can this technology be any useful for the challenge we have right now of transportation of heavy oil to the West Coast that can increase the volume that can go in the same pipeline, existing pipeline?
Yeah, that's a great question. Technically, it works very well with heavy oil and bitumen. Not just to make it too technical, if we just consider the viscosity and specific gravity of any oil, the solvent, when it's injected, it can either be dissolved within the oil or it's not dissolved, but it can be recycled. Either way, it's game-changing. Then, comparatively with any other methods, you can recover the same amount of oil with all the other benefits that you can achieve. So the main question, can it be useful? It depends on the oil price. There are economics, there is politics, there is many things. Technically, when we consider a method applicable and useful, the price has to be 10% of the oil price. Like one barrel now is $100. The price out there is $10 per barrel. For solvent, it's almost $20 per ballast. For now, probably not, but for near future, it's definitely useful.
I'll run to you.
I want to congratulate all of you for doing an amazing job. I just have a question for Adrien. How efficient does that A to O transition have to be to protect from rejection? Thanks.
Hi, thanks so much. So how efficient is it? So far, we have used something called, the reason I didn't specifically say it is just in case the general audience doesn't know. We've collected over 64 human saphenous veins to try this in over 100 different groups for trials. So far, every single group has come back at a reading of 0 A antigen. So it seems to be significant in the effect. So that's what I have. We are still going to do something like a simulation test, so like a retransplant, but not exactly like that. We can't do that with ethics yet, but we would do something, it's called AMR testing, which is like an antibody-mediated rejection testing, which is essentially reperfusing maybe the O heart with A blood and see if there's any sort of rejection, for example. So yeah, thank you.
More questions for our speakers. Somebody must have something. Oh. There we go.
My question is for Mengying, and I must admit I didn't quite follow what you're doing here. Are you actually making a microbe that will carry out the processes you talked about?
Thanks for the question. So basically, I didn't put like a lot of terminology there, but with the scoop of soil, we do the sequencing, we do the DNA, RNA, protein metabolism. It will tell us who are there, whether they're active, and what thing they can do, what they're capable of doing. Does that, yeah.
So, question for Karen. So, how do you advise us to take our waste and change it into good medicine?
Thank you so much for your question. So, food waste to medicine. The approach that I'm using here and the research I'm conducting is the biomedical materials. So we are designing the biomedical materials that are capable of absorbing of biological fluids and also capable of the cell proliferations. This is such a porous materials from the sustainable sources that we get that can like do the cell division a lot and can make a part or mimic a part of the tissue culture that we have. So exactly, the food waste is not converted into the medicine, but it is converted into the biomedical materials used for the medication. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, I'm on it. I'm on it.
So this is a BCI-related question because we loved your presentation. What sort of paradigm do you use? Because BCI is very complicated to implement. So
right now we're building a little in-house fun new one. So a little bit of it's under wraps, but it's basically a combination of auditory P300, auditory steady state response, and like some theta tracking that we're doing for all the other people in the room. It's basically taking different ways that you can hide sounds that you aren't expecting to hear. You can take different parts of the sound and augment how it's presented, and then you can also take the sound itself and use it to find it in the brain. So we're kind of taking multiple different approaches to build our classifier so that we can try and really boost classification to the best we can with such limited both electrodes and resources, because sometimes recording on these kids is pretty hard to do.
Okay, I had the question, follow the question. What was the accuracy that you obtained in BCI? The accuracy that you take with your paradigm, and what device do you use to record the brain signals of the participants? And the last one is the possibility to collaboration, because I also working in brain-computer interfacing here. So,
to answer the second question first,
amazing.
Email me. I would love friends, so I'd love to chat more. As for headsets, so we work with kids, and kids are notoriously like annoyed at things. Like if you try and do BCI with an adult, they'll be like, oh, I'll suffer through this because it's going to be great. A kid will very quickly tell you, whether verbally or not, that they hate something. And so we focus on as minimally invasive EEG as possible. Right now I have a prototype built with just an earbud. So it's just an earbud electrode that you put in. I have some other things I'm working on with a full like earphone EEG. Those are, let's say, okay. And then the third part is we're kind of probably going to just build our own headset, which can take some midline measurements and then into the auditory cortex, which is kind of where we need to be. So the short answer is as small and little as possible. The long answer is we're doing a lot to try and get it there.
Cool. We switched places, Aaron.
Okay, I'm going to be brave and ask a question in Paolo about the black holes because it's like they're so cool. And so it's not because I watch a lot of TV, but so the white hole, is that a mini Big Bang?
Actually, so the equations are very similar. There are some speculations that our universe is we are inside of a white hole that is expanding, because the equations are very similar. But of course, we have no way to prove it. But yeah, something like you will fall into the black hole, and then you will see everything that shrinks at the center, let's say, and then everything will start to expand again. And so, what's happening in our universe right now is that, if we observe the sky, we see the stars that are moving far away from each other and from us. So, the situation is pretty similar. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, I'm just switched places with you, Aaron. I'm having fun.
I had a question for Paolo as well. Sorry, this is very different from my field, so I don't know if this sounds like a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's very interesting. Okay, so, long before we actually observed the black hole, we mathematically modeled it, so we knew of its existence, we just hadn't observed it. Is that something you expect with white holes as well, that we may be able to observe at some point?
Yeah, I really hope so. It would be a great discovery, yeah, we feel black holes were a prediction that comes out of Einstein's theory of gravity, and even Einstein didn't believe in them. It was oh no, there's a mistake in my calculations. We cannot take all the solutions that are actually existing. But then I think, I don't know, 60 years after, we took the first picture of the black hole. So, I don't know, with white holes, the problem is that they are, if they exist, they're pretty smaller than black holes, but still, the volume inside, it's very huge. So, and they will expel a lot of matter. So, maybe they will be, very luminous. So, hopefully, yeah, I will get a Nobel Prize, maybe.
Thank you.
Oh, coming.
You're all amazing. I had a question for Elena. You modeled the shirt for the firefighter. How close is that to actual use, say, in Alberta, for example?
Thank you so much for your question. So currently, our invention is at a patent pending stage, and we do try to contact, patent office tries to contact different companies, and we have some response from the companies who are willing to bring it to the market. And so it's currently under kind of, collaboration maybe in the future. So yeah, thank you so much for your question. Yeah.
One more question, I think. One more. Probably let people have some food.
Thank you. This has been so fascinating. My question is for both Parham and Adrien. Your research is similar. One is to extend the life of the heart for transplantation, and the other is to make it so that it's compatible with as many people as possible, meaning that if instead of having a 4 to 6 hour window, then you could modify it. So with your research where you extend the life of the heart, the life of the heart, or the availability of the heart, and possibly using their technology to change it so that it's compatible to more, and then you have more hearts. How have you guys discussed this?
Yeah, so we're in the same lab, and a lot of our work is, sorry? Oh, perfect, yeah. Is it good now? Yeah, so we're in the same lab, and a lot of our work is, very similar, but as a whole, ESHP is a surrogate, basically, for all these therapeutics that can be used. So one can be, for example, cleaving the enzymes or cleaving the sugars or whatever. One could be using a specific molecule to make a specific heart better. That's one of the benefits of ESHP. But the other one is also, of course, by having that in that physiological environment, we by nature extend the preservation time. So ESHP can do two things: the extending of the time, and then also allowing for that therapeutic window. Want to add anything?
Sure. So I can speak a little more as well. So our lab works very collaboratively, as I guess you figured. So Parham's research, a lot of it also looks at extending that preservation window, and ours looks at removing the A antigens off of the A heart. So of course, the overall hope is he's using different drugs, different kind of therapeutics to keep his heart alive as long as possible, and we're using something else to get rid of that marker. We're thinking maybe in the future a cocktail of those therapies to keep the heart alive for as long as possible and make it a universal donor. That's kind of like, the grand scheme of things. So, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, one more round of applause, and then we're going to pause. We're going to take a 30-minute break, so aim to be back here around 6:30. We've got refreshments and some snacks outside. Make sure you run into all of these amazing young researchers and congratulate them and ask them more questions. And meet me back here at around 6:30 to find out who the winner is. Thank you, guys. Good job, good job, good job. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We all have had some snacks / dinner, ready to hear the exciting news about the winner for this year and the runners-up. Yay, let's get on with it. So, the members of our jury have done the hard work and made those nearly impossible decisions. Thank you. Where is there? Oh, there, you're in the front now. That's good. That's easier to find you. Thank you all for taking on this really difficult challenge. And again, so grateful for your support of this competition. And now I want to call all 13 of our finalists to the front. Again, sorry, I'm interrupting your eating. One more time at the front of the room. Excellent. Congratulations to all of you. You're all winners, and I want to stress what an important accomplishment this is, and how much we all really appreciate the work and the time that you've put into this project. I hope that every minute that you've devoted to this competition will pay off for you going forward. I think it will. If you've talked to any of the past contestants, you'll use these skills over and over again. Thank you. You're now part of the Falling Walls family forever, and so thank you, thank you, thank you. But unfortunately, this is a competition, and we do need to name the winners. And now is the moment we've been waiting for. So if I could ask the jury members to come forward, I think we're going to have you over here. This is all a very finely orchestrated event. And before we get to the winners, I'm wondering if you would like to share some general reactions or thoughts and feedback with all of our wonderful finalists. I think I have here that Greg and Vanessa are going to offer us some comments. So I'll invite you up to the podium, and I'm just going to squish over here.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Greg Gazin. This is the first time that I'm at one of these events, and it was an honor to be a judge at this event. I have to admit, I was just totally blown away at the presentations. Wasn't everyone else here? I really had no idea what kind of work is going on behind the scenes. And all you ladies and gentlemen here are really our future leaders. You are leaders of the future. So I think the future is in good hands. I understand that you also like to have one piece of advice. When I graduated in 1986, and whenever there was an opportunity to speak, I made sure that everything was done with audiovisual technology because I had a fear. I could not get up and speak in front of an audience for more than about 3 seconds, if that. So I want to encourage all of you to take every and any opportunity to speak in front of an audience, but not only speak, but get feedback. That's one of the reasons I joined Toastmasters 24 years ago, and it's been transformational. But with that said, the fact that you got up, you said what you had to say, and the hardest thing was to do it in just 3 minutes. So congratulations to all of you. And if you don't win today, you just say, I haven't won yet. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Ness, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, echoing everything that was just said, and on behalf of all of us, we're so grateful that we were allowed to be on this panel and see all the great work everyone's doing here. So just from my perspective at Advanced Education, it's amazing to see the future, the generation that's doing impactful work that's going to save lives and transform how we think and what we do. And it just makes me more excited to go to work every day and support the research and innovation ecosystem here in Alberta. And Saskatchewan, you're doing great work too, but on behalf of the government of Alberta, U of A and U of C, it's great to see these leaders of tomorrow. I graduated from U of A with my PhD in medical genetics in 2019, and I don't think I ever would have signed up for this, so I just really respect all of you. And yeah, take every opportunity you can. I think this is great. It's going to be such an experience that you'll remember forever, and you all did amazing. So just keep up the great work. I'm excited to follow where your journeys go, and yeah, looking forward to announcing the winner, and thank you for having us.
Thank you, Greg and Vanessa, for your kind words. And now, Bhuvan, over to you to announce our third place winner.
Hey all. Kudos to every single person of you. This takes courage. And every single one of you who presented, all the ideas were novel enough. Only a couple things that I'm going to say is think about commercialization and how do you take that to market. We do have to select some winners. The research doesn't stop here. The competition doesn't stop here. But the person on the third place today is Elena Kosareva.
All right, congratulations, Elena. Oh, we're still, I thought we were doing something else there. Never mind. And now, Lian, if you could please come forward and announce our second place winner.
Excellent job, guys. So for second place is Adam Luoma, quadriplegic, composing.
Congratulations, Adam. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, Darren, I'll invite you up to announce the winner of this year's Falling Walls competition.
Thank you, Tracy. Congratulations to each and every one of you for having the courage to step up here and for doing really great work. Unfortunately, we can't give you all the first prize, but it's really exciting, and you know, as someone who thinks about how do we take the work that we do here at the university and move it out, I am encouraged and really optimistic about our future. So this is really great to see, so thank you for participating. And the winner of the Falling Walls Lab Edmonton Canada 2026 is I Adrien Lam for breaking the wall of donor heart incompatibility.
All right, congratulations, Adrian. That's amazing. What a wonderful accomplishment. Adrian, do you want to say a few words? I know you've already said a few, but let me hold your stuff.
So, of course, sorry, I'm a little nervous and my hands are a bit shaky, so forgive my shaky voice. But of course, I would love to thank everybody that came out today and came to support our talks. Everybody till our Falling Lab finalists. I really took a lot of inspiration from everybody here and a lot of our former finalists as well. I would also really like to thank, of course, I was talking to one of our senators earlier that I was once on the board of governors, and I said that I think speaking on the board really prepared me for this, because nothing is scarier than talking to, the chair of the board. But, jokes aside, of course, I would love to extend my thanks to Dr. Jennifer Conaway, who is the primary PI of this project, Dr. Darren Freed, who is my PI, and Dr. Lori West and Dr. Jason Acker, who are our collaborators. So, of course, and of course to my lab mate Parham as well, and everybody else. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adrian, and good luck in Berlin. We'll be watching and cheering you on. I can't wait for that. And we can't conclude today's celebration without putting our hands together a few more times. So for the first time, let's thank our wonderful judges again. Thank you so, so much for your time and wisdom and insight. And let's give it up for all of our 13 talented presenters once more. The GPS professional development team has worked on this project and worked with all of our participants to get them prepared for the competition. And I want to say to this team of Renee Polzine, Aaron Sanderman, where's Aaron? Rob Desjardins and Jay Friesen, who's always hiding at the back. Thank you for all of your work on this competition and all of the other initiatives throughout the year. I always like to pause for a moment and comment on the work that this team does because they are so critical to graduate education at the University of Alberta. Our graduate students, wouldn't have the skills and the abilities that they do to go out and apply their enormous talent in the world when they finish their degrees without this professional development team and all of the work that they do in developing the skills that are necessary for them to be the change makers and leaders of tomorrow. So let's put our hands together to thank the professional development team for all of their investment. And now I understand that Rob has a few notes of thanks that he wants to share on behalf of the organizers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy.
I don't know if is it on?
My on.
It's one of those. Yeah, just come over here.
I'll come over. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy, so much. And we really want to start by thanking you for your constant support and advocacy of Falling Walls Lab, as well as Dean Burshtyn at the University of Saskatchewan and Dr. Willets at the University of Calgary. Such a great team to have and to work together with. Also want to acknowledge, as Tracy did, the Office of the VP IIE and all the support they give us in this process. And we're grateful to our friends. So great to have the QVHS folks and other community friends here tonight. We're grateful to our friends in U of A Development and Alumni Relations, Michelle Murray and her colleagues, for helping us to spread the word. And by the way, whether you're here tonight in person or tuning in online, you're benefiting from the work of Angus Finley and his team at Angus Finley Productions and Christiane and Danny from the U of A's IST office. We really want to acknowledge them too. They've done a great job. And thank you to Christy Dean, our photographer, who always lifts the spirit of any event that she attends. So thanks, Christy, for being here. Also, really quickly want to note, as Tracy did earlier, our previous Falling Walls Lab finalists and winners. They've been thinking of Lily Jo and Ronnie Payne and Harry Wilton Clark. They've been outstanding ambassadors for the program, and we don't get a chance to share this with you, but they do a lot. They do a lot for our presenters, contributing to programming, sharing advice. So we really appreciate all that you folks do. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, great ambassadors. And finally, we want to thank our colleagues in GPS, our communications team, Ashley Bilodeau and Lily Lay, who did so much to spread the word, Yvonne Bienias and Bobby Chastel, who helped at the front of the house, and our colleagues in the PD team. Thanks, everyone, for coming out tonight.
Okay, thanks everybody. And just one final note, if you're an early career researcher, I know there's some of you that came to watch tonight and learn what this was all about, and you have a story to tell, consider taking part in Falling Walls Lab Edmonton next year. We'd love to have you here. We will do it all over again, and as you can see, the results are really remarkable for everybody in the room. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic night, and I hope to see you next year. Same place.